Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking the first of two looks through the Agatha Christie Book Collection. Now this was a Partwork that was released all the way back in 2012 in the UK by Hachette, and they reprint the Agatha Christie books in facsimile form with an accompanying magazine, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. So that's what we're going to be having a look at today. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. So here we are then, the first of two videos on the Agatha Christie Book Collection. Now, first of all, thanks very much to my sister. She's in the process of moving house as we film this, and I thought what perfect time to borrow her Agatha Christie Book Collection off her so that I could film them for the channel. But there's so many, there's actually 85 in total. I've pulled the first 40 out today, and we'll look at the final 45 in part 2, which will be in a month or so's time, I would imagine. But first off then, the books were published fortnightly from Hachette back in 2012, and you could buy an accompanying binder here, which is really very nice to put the magazines in. And well, here we are. They started off with The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Now, slightly strangely, they didn't publish the facsimiles in the order that they were published first time round, so they do jump around a little bit all over the place, which I think is a little bit weird, but it may have been a commercial decision to keep some of the really classic books held back so that they didn't sort of spoil maybe all the best ones all in one hit. I mean, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but that was my suspicion anyway. So, well, the actual books themselves, obviously, they are all uniform, and they, where possible, they've used the original jackets where they found them. The books are all the same height, but that's obviously not how the original books are. They're all over the place, and they weren't all the same publisher. But it is lovely to see, and nice clean type in almost all cases. And some of them have obviously been reset as well. And before the Partwork came out, Collins had actually started re-releasing these, and they all had a belly band, because I was in the book trade at the time and we sold these in the shop, and they all had like facsimile belly bands around them. But this was a great way to do it with the accompanying magazine as well. Now, looking through the magazine, so this was the first one. They, from what I can see, each magazine sort of tells a bit more about Agatha Christie's actual life, from when she was a youngster, and then bits about the book in question that was released in that issue. About what was going on in London at the time, innovations in crime and detection, and this is obviously related to the actual story. It puts the book in date context as well, a little bit about the writing of it, how it came to be. And there we are. So not a lot to the magazine, but a worthy addition, I think, and I'm glad that they did it. When you find these online, they tend to be just the books on their own. Rarely do you find the sets for sale or the books for sale with the magazines accompanying them. That's much scarcer. But I think they look absolutely fantastic. And I did at one point have about 40 or 50 out of the 85 that were published. But because it's so difficult to find the books outside of a set, if you buy them individually, you're going to really pay for them now, between £10 and £15 a copy. It just proved too expensive, so I drew the line under it. I have, of course, got multiple editions in vintage paperback, and that's sort of what I'm going to stick to, unless a set was to come my way at a reasonable price. Anyway, another real classic, Murder on the Orient Express. Very nice. (1934). And you have to say this is probably one of her most famous novels, isn't it? As I said, you're not going to get a lot in the magazine, but it's probably enough to have a little flick through before you get stuck into the book. And then at the back of each one, it gives you the next one on its way. But yeah, very, very nice. Nice jacket, that one as well. So here is number 3, Murder at the Vicarage. Got the Crime Club membership on the back there. The classic logo there. Yep, lovely stuff. They do feel really nice in the hand. These are really nice editions to read. And look, yeah, fortnightly, £5.99. That wasn't bad when you think about it at the time, was it? Admittedly, it was 10 years ago, but even so, that was a good price. And more than once, I've heard people say, I wish they'd re-released the Agatha Christie facsimiles. I didn't get them at the time. And I, for one, would gladly pay a few pounds more than that now to get my own set of these together. And as we know, Christie had a massive revival during lockdown. So I would argue that definitely the market was there for it. But there you go. Yes, very, very nice. Absolutely gorgeous cover, this one, for Death on the Nile. And it's nice to see it blown up as well on the front cover of the magazine. Definitely one of my favourites, this one. Looks like McCarthy was the artist. I don't know a lot about the Collins cover artists. I know some of them were house artists that were employed by Collins. A lot of them are going, are just uncredited. Once again, each magazine seems to be doing a little bit about another step in Agatha Christie's own life, and then some of the influences in writing the story. But yes, an absolute classic there. And they've got the next few on the back there. So evidently the series was off to a good start, and they felt they could go ahead and advertise it. So ABC Murders is next, and they have stuck to the British editions of all of these rather than the American ones, the American titles, for example, because that was the Alphabet Murders in America. Here we are. Of course, it's take place on the railway network. And there's the adaptation there. It's quite nice. And published in Fontana. Ironically, one of the Fontanas I've not got at this moment. A Crooked House. She gets a picture on the back on that one. The acknowledged queen of crime fiction the world over. More on her time in Egypt, which she did quite a bit of. It would have been nice if they'd have had a little gallery of perhaps all the previous editions, but some of these books have had, well, probably all her books have had multiple editions, 20, 30 different versions around the world. Even in the UK, most of her books have had probably 10 to 15 different jackets, I would think, at least over the years, maybe even more on some of them. But yeah, Murder is Announced. But yeah, if it was me and I was putting this together, I would have tried to have scoured online and various collections and tried to get a load of different jackets. That would have been, I think, pretty good. Here we are. There is a really great website which I like to go and visit, and they publish regular articles. It's for Agatha Christie collectors, and I will put a little link to it in the description down below, but they publish some great stuff on their website. Lots of things for the collector. Here we are. This is John Lane. It's Alan Lane's father. Alan Lane went on to create Penguin books, of course. And the very earliest Christies were published by John Lane, as opposed to Collins. There we are. And obviously slightly controversial, this one. So they've used the alternative modern titling of this one, and then there were none. And I suppose they didn't want to get into any trouble, so I doubt we'll see the original jacket or anything even mentioned of this in the write-up here. Though I think they probably should have put something, an acknowledgement. Yeah, looking at different adaptations, stage plays and that, but yeah, they mentioned 10 Little Indians down there. So they show that one, the American titling, but not the controversial British titling, which I suppose, they have to tread carefully. And some of the other lovely books around at that time, a few classics there as well. And this one, Dodd Me, of course, this is the American ones. This would have been the American jacket for this one, and they've just changed the titles. And then, see, this is slightly weird because then it jumps ahead to, one of the very tail end Christies. And as I said, for me, I personally would have preferred them to have been, if these had been published in, chronological order, really, as Christie had them published. But, I suppose it is what it is. It mixes it up, but there's no way in a million years I will be reading these out of order. Although, one of the joys of Christie is once you've read them all, you can go back and just pick up the one that you fancy, can't you? Another slightly later one here, Endless Night. Of course, Christie herself, I guess, needed to be quite a keen amateur chemist with all the poisonings. Now back to a very early one, Secret Adversary. Quite thick as well. Not my favourite cover, this one. Another John Lane. Yeah, the magazine itself is quite minimalist. There's only not many pages to it, perhaps about 20. Not even that, 16 pages, so it is really just a supplement, but at the same time, it's good to have something with the book, isn't it? Now, next one is my sister's favourite, Evil Under the Sun. It's definitely a good one. It's the lovely original jacket, very, very rare, in its first edition. Brilliant. Yeah, and the movie's great as well, isn't it? Of Evil Under the Sun. Lovely. Great. Now, it's funny because Body in the Library, it's a great one. It's one of my favourites, but the original first edition jacket is, it's not one of my favourites. I think my personal favourite is probably the lovely pan one, actually in the library. See lots about Torquay. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that one in the corner there. That's my favourite of all the editions of Body in the Library that I've got. Penguin published it, and it's just like generic Green Penguin crime. The Fontana edition I'm not a massive fan of, but that pan one is a beauty. Mystery of the Blue Train. She did like her trains, didn't she? Old Agatha. So this is Poirot on the back there. Trying to get these all in picture, just so you can get the complete Agatha Christie story here, none missed, since this is as good as we're going to get until they get it reprinted. Now, I've always liked this one as well, and this is no exception. Dumb Witness is just great, and I love all the different editions of it. If it hadn't been for me, old Monsieur Poirot would never have solved this case. Bob, the not so dumb witness. What a great jacket that one is, isn't it? Of course, by now in her life, as they're chronicling, she was already a huge star in the world of fiction and literature. Death in the Clouds, another great one. Very, very evocative. I mean, these books are just superb, and wow, it'd be lovely to have a set of first editions, wouldn't it? If money was no object, it would take time, but you could get a run of them together. If you were patient, you could probably find them all in nice copies. There's another favourite of mine, the Tom Adams one, for Fontana, with the wasp. Very, very nice indeed. Now we've got Poirot returns in The Peril at End House. Very nice. Number 19. Why? Why didn't they ask Evans? Of course, she was incredibly well travelled, wasn't she, Agatha Christie? And everywhere she went, I guess she found inspiration to bring to new novels. And then the halfway point in the video, Murder on the Links. Number 20 in the series. Fantastic. I like the way, once again, they got the classic pan cover there. Good stuff. Well, that's the first 20. Okay, carrying on with number 21 here. 5 Little Pigs. Once again, really interesting jacket, that one. Perhaps not a classic, but it's really, really distinctive, isn't it? I'm pretty sure the original is a bit more yellow than that. That one's a bit more mustardy, isn't it? A bit more washed out. But yeah, we shall go through to number 40 inclusive and call it a day there for this first part, because there's too many to go through in the one video. The Stitterford Mystery. And I remember seeing these in the shops, and I'm pretty sure, particularly early on, they must have gone all right because they were literally on the shelves. You know, you could just go in and pick it up. But I suppose later on they probably wanted people to subscribe to it, which is, I think, what my sister did. So she probably got hers in the post. And they were always sealed in plastic with the magazine and the book on the front. But looking through my sister's collection, hers have arrived in great condition. They're not damaged in any way. So if she did get them in the post, they were well protected. I think Partworks these days, they don't do quite as many as they used to. I think they're just too expensive to produce nowadays. You get a few, of course, but I think generally Partworks have gone a little bit out of style. Which is maybe why these haven't come back and had a reprint, even though, you know, Christie's super hot at the moment. Number 24 now, Appointment with Death. A great one. Good stuff. It's a real favourite jacket of mine. I always like a busy jacket, you know, something to actually have a look at and think about, and that fits the bill there. Murder in Mesopotamia. Excellent. Cards on the Table. Nice jacket, isn't it? I wonder if they used a photograph or actually got an artist to do that. I don't know. I suppose it would be a little bit of a cop-out if they just took a photo. That's interesting, on the scene of the crime there, that's good. '27 is Sparkling Cyanide. Lovely. What a fantastic title that is, isn't it? One of the best. One of the best. That's one of my favourite jackets for that one as well. Capturing that moment on the screen. Good stuff. Next is 29, Parker Pine Investigates. Nice pan edition of the Big Four there. Next we've got The Moving Finger. Really, really great jacket, that one. Like the spider web going around it. Lovely. Murder is Easy, apparently. 30th book in the series. I said there's 85 in all. They do publish a couple of volumes of autobiography and some of the plays and that at the end. That must come out there. It's a very early copy of Murder is Easy there. I don't remember having this one. 1-2 Buckle My Shoe. Quite an interesting jacket, that one. I don't remember owning this one when I had some of these first time round, you know. Lovely. This one I definitely remember having. It was one of the, I think it's one of the ones from the 1950s. This 450 from Paddington, and Christie's books by then were selling so well that nowadays you can pretty much pick up the last sort of 30 years of her life reasonably priced, you know, even in nice condition, as original firsts, of course. It's just the early ones are just a fortune. And rightly so, they are gorgeous. It's the American jacket there. Yeah, it says an American paperback edition of 450 from Paddington with its alternative title, What Mrs. McGillicuddy Saw. There's the Fontana one. There's yeah, it's got Joan Hickson there. And it was Geraldine McEwen, there she is, yeah. So I was lucky enough to be in a Geraldine McEwen Agatha Christie, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So, The Man in the Brown Suit, there we are. This is one on the partly set on the London Underground. There we are. 34 is Poirot's Early Cases. Quite a big thick one, this. Lovely. Yes, this is Towards Zeros. This is the one I got a little extra part in when they filmed the Geraldine McEwen adaptation, which must have been at least a dozen years ago now, I would think. So I'll pop up my photos from that time. But I don't have much of a scene. Blink and you'll miss it. But it was very enjoyable. I saw all the main cast there. I didn't see Tom Baker because he's only in at the start, but McEwen we saw, and Alan Davies and Julian Sands. Sadly, missing Julian Sands. And it was good. It was a great experience, that one. Filmed near Burt Island. The Big Four. Lovely one, that. Very evocative jacket, this one. Lovely. Now, 3-act tragedy. This was one that I was never that much of a fan of. I don't know the jacket wise, you know. Don't know why. Really don't know why. I do know that for some reason it was always the Collins editions of it were always really, really expensive. But I don't know why that was. Maybe it just didn't sell. Not 100% sure. As I said, the Collins re-releases of these facsimiles all have belly bands around, which these facsimile editions do not in the Partwork. But as I said, if you're tempted to start picking these up, your best bet, I kid you not, is to just go for them in a set. Do not try and pick these up individually because it will work out very, very expensive. N or M. You do occasionally see them and you'll realise that the ones we've seen today, which compose the first 40 books, are by far the more common, and as you go later into the run, I guess less or fewer people were collecting them then, so they tend to get even harder to get hold of. And as I said, we're showing them here in Partwork order, not published order. But in Christie's life now, we're up to the Second World War, which is cool. Een Party, number 39. It's Greenaway House. Yeah, we have moved into the Second World War now. There we are. And then the last one today, for part 1, is Taken at the Flood. A full-length Poirot novel by Agatha Christie. There we are. Here we are, Birth of the Home Guard. Dig for Victory. Brilliant stuff. Excellent. And we'll kick off with number 41, Murder in the Mews, next time. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed looking through this first part of the Agatha Christie Book Collection. Absolutely fantastic editions if you're into Christie, and they do make a lot of fun to collect. If you've enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button for regular Agatha Christie content, and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.